Yakuza is about two things: the violent ins and outs of the Japanese mafia, where blood is shed and tears are drawn, with character deaths and twists so emotional it could rival the Titanic, and the silly, wacky shenanigans Japanese mafia apparently get up to according to our 2005 to 2025 video game. I'm going to be talking about the former, or more accurately, the violence part. Now, I'm only going to be talking about the mainline and Judgment games because I feel like those are what add the most to the franchise. So let's not waste time and get straight into it. Yakuza has you play as a man named Kiryu Saga of the Dojima family, scouring the streets for bodies to beat and time to kill after spending 10 years in the joint because your best friend found out the hard way that guns actually do kill people. Your kit is rather simple, as you have a light attack, heavy attack, grab, and evade. The attack buttons do what you think they do. Your grab otherwise is rather nifty, being able to grab from the front or behind. Regardless of position, you're able to either beat the stuffing out of your enemy or throw them. You also have a lock-on, so you can keep your attacks focused on one single enemy at a time. Your block is rather nifty because instead of negating some damage, it negates all of it. Unfortunately, grabs, guns, and knives do not care. Right by your health bar, you also have a heat bar that acts as this game's special gauge. This gives you access to numerous cinematic and technical abilities that you can gain access to by spilling blood. Getting hit will deplete the bar, but in some games it will also deplete over time. Upgrading your abilities is rather simple. You have three main avenues to go down: body, tech, and heat. Each avenue has their own sets of upgrades which will make you stronger. You can only buy one upgrade at a time, and buying these upgrades require XP, which you earn through fighting. Between Yakuza 1 and 2, I think there's really only one difference, that being the heat bar. Yakuza 1 only gave you one heat bar, while Yakuza 2 lets you unlock multiple. Aside from the lock-on being kind of broken in 1, everything else was overall the same. So why don't we just move on to Yakuza 3 is what you would expect of any third game in a popular franchise that isn't Devil May Cry. Yakuza 3 made some changes to the overall feel of battle, giving you access to a movable camera, finishing blows at the end of boss fights, quick select weaponry, and more than like 9 inventory slots. Honestly, I don't really have a lot to say about Yakuza 3. Aside from some very minute changes, this game didn't really change much, especially in comparison to future titles. So yeah, I know I just started talking about this, but let's just move on to the next one. Yakuza 4 is when the series starts to shift away from just having you play as John Yakuza Kiryu Saga himself, introducing 3 brand new faces. Akiyama, a single hot loan shark in your area that's got a need for speed and smokes 70 cigarettes a day. Saejima, an allegedly convicted mass murderer whose tankiness and brutality rivals even Kiryu's. Tanimura, a detective that actually enjoys playing the worst minigame in the series despite having the coolest moveset so far. And Kiryu, who's only here because the devs wanted a 4th playable character. Akiyama, the first you play as, is easily the coolest character in this entire franchise because he's the kind of man who knows how to use his legs to bash your skull in. Saejima is the slow, heavy type, preferring close casket funerals over quick and timely knockouts. Not only that, but his throws are so powerful that they could be considered weapons of mass destruction. Tanimura is a grab means wet dream, being easily the most different character in the roster, going as far as to having his own parry that's activated by timing a block well. Kiryu, overall, is just an upgraded version of what he was back in Yakuza 3, except now he actually does damage. Yakuza 4 also changes up the way in which you unlock abilities. Instead of spending XP in 4 different categories, now you have orbs that you can use to unlock any ability that you so choose, as long as you meet the upgrade requirements. With all of that being said, I know that Tanimura is a new character and all, but I kinda just hope that he sticks around because his moves are just so Encounter Yakuza is the 5th mainline game, and with it are some of the most drastic changes made yet, most notably the change in engine. The idea of multiple playable characters returned, with most of the characters from the last game making their grand return in crisper detail. We have a mysterious stranger who is absolutely not Kiryu in disguise, who's easily at his strongest in this entry, being so strong that he no longer needs heat to perform certain moves like the bounding throw. With a full heat bar, he gains access to a super mode that'll let him go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs upon activation. Saejima comes back and is even more fun now, gaining a discount tiger drop in the process and a shaven head for his troubles. Akiyama returns even more addicted to cigarettes now than ever, and now the Mad Lad's even got a DMC air rave. What the f. A newcomer, Tatsuo Shinada, comes up to bat with his playstyle being primarily focused around weapons, though his unarmed style isn't completely useless with some nifty tricks of its own. Shinada is an ex-baseball player with a love for the game so great that he refuses to use any baseball bat as a weapon in combat. I would include Haruka, but dancing isn't really a form of combat. Haruka is effectively Kiryu's niece trying to pursue a dream that leads to some of the best songs that this game has to offer. Added into this game is is now a system that gives you temporary stat boosts before you head into battle, as well as a nifty new red heat gauge that'll charge with every heat action you perform, and when it's filled, it'll let you perform a super cool powerful heat action called Heat Climax. By holding the left trigger, you'll activate heat suppression, which prevents you from performing any unwanted heat actions. Should you be interested in pursuing your dream of being a weapon-wielding madman, you can now do that with the ability to level up how you wield certain weapons. I definitely did this. Don't worry, I absolutely definitely did do this, I'm not lying to you. Man, Shinada's so cool. I hope he comes back in the next... Yakuza 0 practically revamps everything you know about the franchise. Instead of having a single inventory to hold everything that you have, you'll now have separate inventories to hold a specific type of item. Is one style of fighting per character not enough? Well, now you have 3. And since there's another playable character, they also have 3. Hell, we'll even throw in their old ones for that nostalgic flair. Yakuza 0 gives you style. And with this style, you also have a friend named Goro Majima. Though this is a prequel, so you two don't quite know each other yet. Kiryu has Brawler, an all-rounder of sorts that has a very good amount of heat actions in tech. Rush, which turns Kiryu's muscles into noodles to give him super speed and evasion so that... You never see it coming. Beast, where Kiryu decides that juicing isn't so bad after all. The effects are slow and painful, just like what his enemies are about to feel once he's done with them. Meanwhile, Majima has Thug, his equivalent of Brawler, though much faster and zany than anything that Kiryu could do with Gusto. Slugger, Majima's answer to Shinada's refusal to use a baseball bat for its best purpose. And Breaker, where Majima turns dancing into a form of combat. Heat has been changed into something rather debatable. I introduce the gear system. There are 3 main heat bars, each with their own unique attributes depending on the character and style, but there is a universal rule that they all follow. The higher the gear, the faster your attacks are. The leveling system has been completely reworked. Each style has a tree of upgrades and abilities that you can unlock by using in-game money. There are multiple massive men around town that want to take your money. This comes in the form of Mr. Shakedown, a massive man that can appear anywhere on the map and you can choose to fight him. Doing so is a bit of a coin toss. Winning the fight will let you take all of his money, and losing the fight will end with him taking all of yours. Despite the fact that he practically mails you the attacks, getting hit could potentially take out more than half of your health bar even if you are at max health. A non-violent method of making money could be doing a business minigame. For Kiryu, it's real estate, and for Majima, it's managing a cabaret club. Completing the side story associated with either character's minigames will give you their respective legend style. For Kiryu, it's a revised version of his style from the other games meant to fit the time period and mechanics of Yakuza 0. Moves that he hasn't canonically learned yet are replaced with improvised ones. And as for Majima, it's pretty much his boss fight moveset from previous games made into a playable state, with heat actions made specifically to show his nature as the Mad Dog of Shimano. And speaking of earlier games, Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of the original Yakuza that plays more or less like a DLC to Yakuza 0. The heat gauge is more like the ones from the previous games, getting rid of the gear system from Yakuza 0. As a result of this, the attack speed is more or less the same across the board. Your legend style, now called the Dragon style, is now unlocked from the beginning, though you still have to upgrade it. Your styles utilize a similar system of leveling up as they did back in Yakuza 0, though now they utilize XP instead of money. Dragon, however, is a different story. In order to level Dragon up, you need to progress through the Majima Everywhere side story. This side story pits you up against Majima and all of his different fighting styles across town. And it's through this side story that you'll see a lot of a thing that people tend to hate about this game: Kiwami states. When a boss enters a Kiwami state, they'll stop to heal for a short amount of time. The only way to get them to stop is by performing a heat action correlating with the enemy's aura. There are heat actions made specifically for when enemies are in this state, though they still require you to have heat and be near the enemy. You can try out-damaging their healing, but don't expect to be able to, because after a while they end up healing so much that your attacks will do basically nothing. Thankfully, this is the last time we ever see this, as we move on to Yakuza 6. Not only do we have the last chronological game in the Kiryu Saga, but we also have a new engine that's drastically different from the last one. Trading out old physics for the new, we have silly ragdolls now. They're silly, they're goofy, and of course, they're funny, but they also ruin combos if you have a high frame rate. The heat's been changed to a considerably more forgiving system, where instead of having just one heat bar that's of any variable length, you now have 6 orbs that you can use at any given time. Each orb, upon being filled, gives you access to a single heat action. On filling up multiple heat orbs, you have access to that super mode from Yakuza 5, though this time it gives you a virtually infinite rush combo, and finishing blows that do more damage depending on how fast you spam the heavy attack. While bosses have access to their own variant of this mode, it isn't nearly as powerful as yours. The inventory system got completely reworked, allowing you to store a virtually infinite amount of items in your inventory at once, only being limited by each item's storage cap. Kiryu's moveset has been completely overhauled for better or for worse, made with the new engine's mechanics in mind. Every attack has a lot more weight behind them now, at least until blocks make them bounce off like ping pong balls. The upgrade system has been completely reworked, with every activity you do rewarding you with 5 different possible badges. These badges can be spent to upgrade your stats, give you new heat actions, moves, or quality of life upgrades to make everything just a little bit easier. Overall, Yakuza 6 completely changes what you knew about the franchise and then some, though Kiryu Saga technically isn't over yet, with the release of Yakuza Kiwami 2 is just Yakuza 6 with a different story and very few changes, with a heat bar more reminiscent of the older games, retweaked charged attacks, and heat actions that the original Yakuza 2 had. The only noticeable change Yakuza Kiwami 2 brought was a side story featuring Majima, with a Mad Dog style that doesn't really have anything to it. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is more or less just Yakuza 6 but with a green filter. And with that, that's the entirety of the Kiryu Saga, where Kiryu's role as the main protagonist ends for the most part. Though with Yakuza Kiwami 3 on the horizon, a remake of Yakuza 3, it's quite possible that we'll continue to see improvements made to the saga well after its conclusion. What I'm absolutely sure of is that Yakuza Kiwami 3 will at least be an interesting title gameplay-wise. I would have gone over the rest of the series in this video, but I wanted to make sure that this video was less than 12 minutes. And so I figured, hey, why don't I just base it off of the Kiryu Saga because it has the most brawler gameplay to it. And so that's exactly what I did. With all of that said and done, if you're looking to get into the series and are starting with the Kiryu Saga, you should hopefully now know what to expect when you get into the different games. There are definitely people out there who go much more in depth than I do, but I hope that this is at least a decent baseline for you to get started. I do recommend checking out the games yourself, as I'll link down below. Either way, that's all from me. I'll be seeing you all in the next one.